Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are going to be starting a series about ball python breeding. Today I'm just going to be talking about how to tell their gender, what's the proper weight for them, and just kind of some other guidelines that you want to follow before breeding your snakes. Before I start though, I am trying to redecorate my background or set, but it's not going as well as hoped. So, as you can see, we're in like the middle of it, so they're wrinkled sheets hung on the wall like curtains. So let me know what you think in the comments, if I should, like, of course, put them through a dryer so that they're not wrinkled. But just let me know if I should keep them, if I should get rid of them, try something different, or if you liked my blank wall. I kind of just felt that the blank wall was a little bit too blank. So let me know. Okay, so I went and I grabbed a different snake and some other supplies that I'm going to need to show you guys. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to tell what your snake's gender is. And this is probably one of the most important things, because I had a snake that I thought was a girl that was actually a boy, and that just did not work out. So this one here is Noodle. She is my albino spinner. She is a girl, and she is currently, hopefully, about to ovulate, or has already. This is my first time, so I've been having a little bit harder time, but you know, I know a lot about this, so I decided I'd make the video to help others out there that might be going through the same thing. So my first thing I'm going to do is, there's 3 different ways that you can tell your snake's gender. The first one is just kind of like you get lucky and you guess right, or you don't. Some people will look at the length between the vent and the tip of the snake's tail, and females tend to have shorter tails, while men or boy that taper off a little bit quicker, I believe, while boys have longer tails that, you know, just take a little bit more time to taper off. That's not a very good way to guess, because it's really just a guess. Some snakes have longer tails, some have shorter tails, and even though depending on the gender they do tend to have different tails a little bit, it's not always the case. The other 2 methods, which are the most common, is both called popping and probing. Popping is, like, I guess you could say, the less invasive way to tell the gender, and I can do a whole video on both popping and probing. I probe because I've had snakes, which I've had myself have tried to pop, and I've had other professionals, like, that have been breeding for multiple years, do it, and they could not get it, because once they're older, they have lots of muscles and they're able to control themselves very well, so they just, you know, you can't tell. So with probing, I'll just show you these probes real quickly, and I'll do, like I said, I'll do a whole video on this eventually. But I just have very small probes, and this is not the biggest probe. This is the biggest probe, which I use on adult ball pythons. I don't know if you can see that, but basically, you just slide it into their vent, turn it around, and they have 2 little pockets along the edge of their tail, inside, of course, their body. And if it goes in 9 to 15 scales, because you can hold the probe up afterwards next to it and you can count how many scales, how deep it went in. If it goes 9 to 15, it is a male. If it goes normally 1 to 3, but it can be a little bit in between, it's a female. So that's the ways to tell, I guess, your snake's gender. And then going on to weight, when weighing your snake, this is very, very important, because this is how you know if it's safe for your snake to be bred, age or weight wise. A lot of times you want to wait until your snake's at least 2 years old for females, and maybe like 1 or 2 for males to breed. But the main thing is their weight. So here I have a scale. I need to put my thing on there, zero it out. This is just a kitchen scale that you can just buy on Amazon. It was really cheap, like $13, and it works great. So basically I have that zeroed out, and then I use a bin because you can't fit your snake on a scale. And she is, I don't think this is right. I did not zero this out right. But my point is, your snake should be at least 1,200 grams. Your female should be only at least 1,200 grams before they are bred the first time. And males should be at least 700 grams. For my males, I wait a little bit longer, and for females, it's honestly best to wait till at least 1,400 grams. Some people even wait longer, but that's really up to you. And the other thing is, even if they're the right weight, that doesn't mean that they should be bred. Because you can have some snakes here that are much older, much bigger, and they can weigh 1,200 grams, but they can be super skinny because they're a bigger snake. They should weigh more. So here, as you can see her, she is not skinny. She does have kind of strange muscles, which is kind of a funny thing on her, but I think that has to do with her morph, as she's had it her whole life. She's actually really fat right now because she's very swollen, and I think that has something to do with the fact that she's growing follicles and hopefully is about to ovulate. So as you can see, she was a good size. My male that I paired with her this whole time was the same size as her, maybe even bigger at first. They do gain a lot of weight as this process goes on, and kind of as just like a little overview of what exactly happens when breeding a ball python is the first thing you're going to do is when you pair them, you want to pair them, depending on if you have multiple snakes, you can pair one male to multiple different snakes over the breeding season. However, considering the fact I only have one male and one female to breed this season, I just paired them every 1.5 weeks or so, because of course the more often the higher chances. Most likely you'd be okay even pairing them only once a month, but it doesn't really hurt the snakes to pair them once every 1 to 2 weeks or something. You do want to give the males a break every so often. You want to give them maybe 3 days on and then a week off or so. Some people give them less, but I think that you should definitely give them a week in between. The females, you're only going to pair them as often as you pair the male, so that's okay too. But basically what happens first is she starts growing follicles. The first time she's paired, sometimes even before, it kind of like triggers building follicles. And those follicles build, and if she feels that it's safe, now here's the big thing, if she feels that it's safe, she will then ovulate and those eggs will develop, or those follicles will turn into eggs. If she does not feel like it's safe, she does not have the proper security, she does not have the proper temperatures, humidity, whatever, she may not ovulate. She can reabsorb those follicles and therefore not lay eggs that season. Now, as soon as she ovulates, as soon as she ovulates, that means that she is 100% laying eggs that season. However, that does not mean that those eggs will be fertile. So I'm going to go a little bit more into how to tell when your female is building or how to tell when she is ovulating. But for now, I'm just going to end with that. And in my future videos, I'll go through everything from pairing, that'll be the next video, to just actually after they pair, ovulating, and hopefully the laying of eggs soon. And I will do a video on how to build your own incubator, which I am doing. So that's it for today.